I think so. Even though there was COVID, we did not stop activities because there is those plans, there was those kind of writing, publication, there was training, for collaborating with the other partners like AIMS or the Laterite. So we never stopped our activities, by the way.
Shutterstock Music. Shutterstock Music. Shutterstock Music.
Leaders in the teaching program or project has 4 components. So I am leading one of the components, namely strengthening URC academic staff to embrace the philosophy of competence-based curriculum in education, with extension to other higher institutions through various training.
How do you go about that section?
Okay, thank you. The section is, as I said, the ideology of it is enhancing URC staff, in particular, and academic staff in higher institution, other higher institution, to embrace the principles of competence-based curriculum. What do I mean? There are different activities to achieve that objective. First of all, we have to train URC staff to teach through competence-based curriculum so that they can also be model pre-service trainers, our pre-service trainees, to also embrace competence-based curriculum once they are graduated. We don't stop to college level only, we go for higher institutions through the program, postgraduate certificate for teaching in higher learning institution. So we have like 2 main activities, training URC staff and training academic staff in a other higher institution of learning.
When did you start implementing that section?
Okay, like any other component of the LIT project, we started in 2000, and the project must last 5 years. So we started in 2018, and we are supposed to complete by 2023. When we started, we actually have some achievement, by the way.
Now, what are they?
Yes, part of achievement is we conducted research on need assessment on URC staff to look into what they need to really be competent teachers so that they can train competent future teachers as well. That I conduct that assessment was analyzed. We have data on their needs. The next step is to train the whole URC staff. It is planned to train the whole URC staff on competence-based curriculum. What do they need to do, how they can teach through problem solving skills, how they can teach it through project-based teaching, and so on and so on.
And so, how many lecturers have we been trained so far?
So far, we did not yet train any, because I will mention it in later when I talk about challenges. First of all, let's complete with the achievement. So apart the assessment need, we have developed, reviewed, definitely it is a review of the program for postgraduate certificate in teacher learning and higher education. Initially, it had 3 modules. and it was general, it was broad. So for us, we said, okay, let's focus on domain-based training, whereby you define domain different subject, scientific subject content. Let's, for example, we grouped into 3 domains where we have STEM, where I have public health and medicine, and we have another component of social science. So in total, we have developed 5 modules, whereby 3 modules are general, cross-cutting, but 2 are specific. And another thing we reviewed and we introduced is the change of assessment, whereby in the past, the assessment was based on paper writing, but this time the assessment will be on portfolio and practices. So they will have part of practices and they produce a portfolio. So those are key changes which happened, which we did in this program. Another achievement we conducted also, staff will be trained. But we shall not stop there. For sustainability purpose, we expect to select 10 dynamic staff who will continue to mentor others on implementation of CBC. So that is what we call champions, CBC champions. So it means after the threshold training, those 10 champions will continue to mentor other peers. So that is part of our achievement.
Are those 10 champions in a place, or they are yet to be nominated?
They will not be nominated. They will be selected from the training, because we shall start training all. Then the best, maybe the best motivated, will be selected as champions.
I see.
That was the approach. The old approach in the proposal was to train 10 champions first, then they go to train others. But due to COVID-19, it was not possible to go through the training of 10. Rather, we are going to train the whole group, then select champions.
Okay. Are there any challenges faced in the implementation of activities on your action plans?
Yeah, sure. We encountered some challenges or some barriers to complete on due time our activities as planned. Even as I said, we changed slightly how we can proceed. The most challenge was with the COVID-19.
Yes.
When it came in, we expected it will stop much earlier, but it didn't. So we could not really conduct our training. Because our training was also subject, learning is a process, and it is a long life learning. We were not expecting to have ourselves to be self-sufficient, to be able to train ourselves. We wanted to hear also from the academicians what do they think about competence-based curriculum. So in our plan there was involvement of external academicians during the training process. Now, with COVID-19, it was not possible to involve those international, but we changed the methodology where we developed a more online approach. Actually, we are in a good relationship with University of Toronto to support us in the training of CBC champions and the whole staff. Today, we have agreed upon on the module training program. What is remaining is to implement, and we are expecting to implement from this August.
Will it be face-to-face training or online training?
We are expecting to mix both. We are planning to mix both, face-to-face and online, but with focus on online training, because we are not, with experience of COVID-19, we encourage or we put ahead the online training. But though it will be online, we are organizing our staff here as face-to-face, where we shall sit together. We may favor the conference, like the conference, video conference, So that where they are together, when they are given activities, they can organize small groups, discussion, face-to-face, but our trainers will be in Toronto.
Apart from the training by University of Toronto, what else are you planning to do in this period when the COVID-19 pandemic is likely to be slowing down?
I think so. Even though there was COVID, we did not stop activities because there is those plans, there was those kind of writing, publication, there was training, for collaborating with the other partners like AIMS or Laterit. So we never stopped our activities, by the way. But during this period again, we are like developing the material. Training material takes sometimes, So now, in the next couple of months, just we shall now enroll our colleagues, our peer colleagues, our colleagues from the College of Education in the training, in the actual training. So by the end of the training, they will now generate some data, some evidence that the training took place, whereby, like they have been given computers, and one of the components of implementing of competence-based curriculum is the integration of ICT in our teaching. So by the end of the training, they will demonstrate that they use those computers in teaching and learning process. So it will be that is where the 10 champions will play. The champions will play a key role in supporting other colleagues to integrate the ICT in teaching and learning process.
Why the training in CBC for URC lecturers who are supposed to be mastering education, including these CBC?
Yeah, you are right. If we say training, it does not mean educate or does not we teach. And as you know, learning is a process, long life learning. Whatever we do, we have to learn. And the education is dynamic. So that is why you don't know to say we are training from scratch. It is like refreshing people mind. So that is what we mean training. Otherwise, every day is a learning experience. So we need now to sit down. It's like to sit down and see how we can improve our teaching. To improve our teaching, supporting our students, future teachers. So that is how with dynamism of a dynamic environment, we have also to be dynamic as well. So it doesn't mean your staff are empty or they don't know what is a CBC or they are not good implementers. But there is always a room for improvement. Yeah.
Is there any other thing you want to add to what we said about your component?
Yes, of course I have to add something because though I am focusing on one component, but the 4 components are interrelated. Because when we are talking about competence-based curriculum, there is implementation of it. Like there is another object, another colleague in charge of coordinating practical or school practice, so that we see what we are learning, we are implementing it in school. So there is also another component, as I said, technology. We have to integrate technology in our teaching to allow our students to be more competent. So in general, and then in brief, the CBC component, which I am in charge is focusing on aspects of teaching and learning. So, and again, enable people to keep always reflecting and thinking about the principles of competence-based curriculum. So that if you are preparing your more teaching, you think, what am I going to teach? How is it? How can I organize my teaching? So my future teachers, we are training future teachers, can learn from me how to implement the competence-based curriculum. So actually what we see from the ground, some teachers are still confusing group work and competence-based, so which are completely different. So we have to move from where we are to really embrace the philosophy of competence-based curriculum, because it is a big philosophy. So we may not say, okay, we are good enough to implement a CBC when we are not at the end of the day. So we have to still learn and learn and learn and learn.